I change my brain? Am I just a victim to who I am? I'm your host, Steve Sisler. Stay tuned for another episode of Behavioral Insights.
All right, that's it. Have I got a good one for you today? Episode 17 coming up on Behavioral Insights. Right. I'm going to get right to this. We're going to be talking about competing commitments today. I'm centering in on competing commitments. Now, I have a client, and the owner of the company is really not very involved in the organization at all. So I'm just setting you up for how this is playing out. They're really not heavily involved. They're there, but they're not there. They don't go there during the day and so forth and so on. And then there's another individual that's sort of there, that's friends with the owner, pretty much. They've worked together a long time. He's in charge, but he's a passive type. He's a passive, amiable, conflict-avoidant leader. That's fine until there's a really big conflict, right? So the other situation is we have one person in one department that has been there 10 years. And basically is a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and say with a high level of confidence that this female is a blue-collar sociopath. And so a blue-collar sociopath is an individual who has little to zero empathy for other people, only looks out for their own interests at the expense of other people, and thinks in terms of me, myself, and I, and then justifies all of it without remorse. Okay? So that's what I mean by blue-collar sociopath, just so you don't think I'm talking serial killers. So I worked with this organization in bringing an individual in to work in this department. And great style, great person, things are going well. But whenever this person attempted to tell this sociopath what to do, they pushed back and just didn't listen at all, didn't obey, did whatever they wanted. And when they finally came to them and confronted them on the issue, which was really hard for this person to do because they're not a confrontational type, in other words, they don't enjoy it, this person said, oh yeah, well, try to get rid of me. Go talk to the owner. Go talk to them. Try it. See what happens, because I ain't going anywhere. That's the gist of that conversation. So what do we got going on here? We have an organization that really takes pride in their, quote, culture, right? We've got a good culture. Our goal is, fill in the blanks, right? That's all supposedly good. We care about each other, blah, 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 blah. So we as an organization, they're saying we're committed to the well-being of people. We're committed to being an excellent organization. We're committed to providing a clean, happy workplace where people aren't feeling overly challenged or bullied by trouble people. That's the culture. That's what we're building here. That's what we're as a company committed to. So that's commitment number one. Now, the problem is there are competing commitments. There are hidden commitments that are competing with that commitment. And what are they? Number one, this individual that's the biggest problem in the organization right now, holds the keys to certain aspects of a I don't want to say much more about the company. I just don't, I'm just going to be a little vague here. They hold keys in the organization that the company fears that if they up and quit or are fired because of what they know, and another side note, aren't sharing really with anybody else, it would leave the organization in a lurch. So we're committed to providing a place that is healthy, it's not harmful, it's fun, people feel good about themselves when they're here. That's the environment we're committed to create, but we have a secret commitment to another human being here. We're committed to not letting this person go because we're more committed to our fear of what would happen if she leaves and leaves us in a lurch. We're more committed to that than we are to our people or the people in that department. So they had a person who is a extremely high passive. So their passive emotions were in play, and very, very low dominant. And so very sacrificial, okay? Very sacrificial. So she tried to work with this person, couldn't work with this person, got all kinds of pushback, had nowhere to go because they were more committed to her problems than they were to this individual's welfare. But nobody was saying that. But that's the scenario. She felt it. Everybody else knew it. But the people in charge, the two upper echelon people, which is the owner and the general manager, were ignoring it. They were just pretending it wasn't so, because they're trying to honor this other competing commitment. And so the girl that quit, doesn't want to let people down. So apparently she told them, I have to go. I don't want to go, but I have to go because I have these circumstances that are sort of out of my control. So everybody was rather understanding about this situation, and that allowed her to sort of back out of the room, tiptoeing out of the room, trying not to spill the tea. Okay, that's the emotional situation here. So now she's gone, and a lot of people are, man, I can't believe we lost this girl. But the reason why they lost this person is because they're more committed to the bad person than they were the good person, because they're more committed to their fear of what happens if this person leaves than they are to how do we help this person stay. But they don't say any of this publicly. This is all going on in their brains, but people are now starting to talk about it. Now, the more people are starting to talk about it in the organization, the more the person, the general manager of the organization, is losing credibility pretty fast. And so anyway, I had this conversation today about all this, and they're like, we don't know what to do, this kind of a thing. Now, unfortunately, and this doesn't happen often, I am not in a very, very strong relationship with the owner of this organization. I'm really tied to HR and the general management. And the owner is sort of, imagine the owner on a desert island, not a desert island, but imagine the owner on an island, and they've casted a pole, a fishing rod, out across the ocean to this business. And then that lure went into that business, into the door, and then attached itself to this problem person. So they're basically controlling this person from outside of the organization. And this person in the organization knows I've got a direct line to that person. And that person wants me here so I can do whatever I want in this company. I can wreak all kinds of ridiculous, foolish havoc on people. I can come in when I want. I can go home when I please. I can do whatever I want because I hold the keys to the kingdom. So in that department, even though she's not the boss, she is. She is the leader in that department. And they keep trying to bring leaders in to lead and not getting rid of this woman who is basically sabotaging the department. Now, every time they find someone to come in, they're passive. They're only seeking passive people, which are basically yes people, so that they're willing to create a revolving door because they're far more committed to the sociopath than they are to the quality, the people, and the goodness they pretend they hold as an organization. They're just far more committed to this person out of fear. All right? So this woman knows she's got this whole organization over a barrel. And so I told them, you have to share with anybody you're bringing in to take that company over. You have to share with them what they're up against. And you know what? You ready for this, folks? They won't do it. They won't do it because they're afraid they won't want to work there. I want you to wrap your head around that for a minute. This is going on in a profitable company, a really good company, and they're a really good client. Okay, so and I said this on the last podcast, and I'm going to say it again. All this talk about BHAGs and KPIs and culture, right? All that crap is just smoke and mirrors. On the ground, at work, it's not anything like that anywhere. Okay, that's a little strong. There may be a few, okay, but that's it. So, anyway, I don't want to go into any more of that because now I want to use this as a teaching tool. Where are you? Where are you working? What's going on? Are you dealing with this stuff? Okay, are you, posting on LinkedIn how amazing everything is and company culture bullshit? And you got this kind of nonsense going on in your organization? Put something in the comments, all right? I want to know what's going on. And if you're not like that, and you guys have an organization, you're working in a company where it's really running like a well-oiled machine, put that in the comments, all right? I want to see what's going on out there. But in my experience, every single client I've had in 16 years, and it's been between 240 and I think 280 clients in the last 16 years, this is normal. This stuff is normal, which is why I'm always working and I'm always busy. Because when you put human beings in a room, in a building, and give them a mission, this is what happens because everybody is different. Not everybody has the right agenda. Some people have their own agenda, all right? So it's really sad. It breaks my heart to be on the phone with HR and she's just sitting there at a loss saying, Steve, everything you're saying is right. I agree with everything you're saying. They just won't do it. They just won't do it. Think about having an employee that is so committed to the company welfare. So committed to the company welfare. And this organization at its highest level has a commitment to something so stupid, committed to something so ridiculous out of fear of what happens if they leave, what'll happen to the company. You know what that is called? It's called selfish. It's so selfish. You are no more committed to your people than I'm an astronaut. This is ridiculous, and it pisses me off when I see these kind of shenanigans going on in organizations that got signs up all over town about how we're the greatest company to work for. But this is what human beings do, all right? This is what human beings do. What you see is not what you get, okay? It's not what you get. And anyway, I'm really ranting right now because this just got under my skin. It really got under my skin. So what I told this person is, listen, the only way out of this is through solidarity. So what I'm going to recommend is that you take the 8 top people in this organization and you get a meeting with the owner and the GM and you get down and have that meeting with them and say, listen, we've put up with this shit long enough. We're not putting up with it anymore. Something needs to be done. And you go in solidarity and have that conversation. Because these little one-offs, the owner just thinks they're babies. You're babies. You're just whining. She's not that bad, blah, blah, blah. But when everybody comes together and goes in there and has a meeting on this and says, listen, here's what's going on, and everybody shares their own version of their own story of what they're dealing with and what's happening and why this person quit and all this other stuff, you're going to make an impact. You can't make an impact one at a time, but you can make an impact everyone at one time. And I said, that's what you need to do. And she's like, great, that's what we're going to do. So they're going to basically create a posse, and then they're going to go in there on behalf of the organization, and they're basically going to have to save this department from the owner who's got a competing commitment. So anyway, that's what happened. What can I say now? Because, the way I'm running this podcast, I hang up the phone and pull the mic in front of my face and start recording. That's pretty much what I'm doing these days. So I'm really letting you into my world. I'm letting you into the types of things that I work with and deal with in work. And so there's 2 different scenarios out there floating around the world and in social media. There's businesses and owning a business or working at a business and being the best place to work and all this business. There's that, and then there's the real world. And this is why I absolutely love the book by Marcus Buckingham and Ashley Goodall called 9 Lies About Work, a Free-Thinking Leader's Guide to the Real World. All right? There's this fake work world, and then there's this real world. Okay? My consulting deals with the real world, not the fake world that you see on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that other nonsense. This is the real world. When you get differing thinking types working together for a common goal, you actually have a mess until you learn that relationships are primary, not instrumental. And if you can't learn that, then you're going to have struggles all the time. And what people are trying to do in this world right now is they're looking around for not the best place to work, but the best people to work with. And this is one of the amazing insights that Buckingham came up with. He said, people, one of the 9 lies about work is people care which company they work for. Like, he's calling this a lie. Lie number 1, chapter 1. People care which company they work for. People don't care which company they work for. People care which people they work with. That's the deal. Now, I already knew this, but he put it eloquently in an amazing book. So this isn't my book. This is a book, and it's a great book. And if you're in leadership, you need to read it. But people care not which company they work for. They care who they work with, because human beings are wired for connection. And if you're connected to an asshole all day, it's a problem. And people aren't going to put up with it. If they can't fix it, they leave. All right? Why do companies experience excessive turnover? Someone's a jerk. That's likely what's going on. But if there's a competing commitment to protect that person so that you don't have your fears realized as a leader, then you're not caring about your people. You're caring about yourself, not the people. People need to be willing to sacrifice these type of people for the group. And trust me, everyone will pull their weight when that happens. That's what'll happen. Okay? It'll be like, What About Bob? I don't know if you've ever seen the movie What About Bob with Bill Murray, when he's on that bus ride to New Hampshire and then he gets off the bus and everybody cheers. Oh my God, it's the greatest scene ever. But that's what happens when these kind of toxic people leave organizations or are kicked out of them. Everybody cheers and they start singing together. You don't know what solidarity and company culture is until you get rid of all the toxicity in the company. Stop sacrificing good people for toxic ones. If you're doing that, shame on you. If you need help fixing it, call me. But this is nonsense. This is stupid. This is not in the best interest of your people who make up your organization. The people make up the organization. The people make up your organization, and you got to take care of them. Those people need to feel loved, cared for, appreciated, and all that. When you got a toxic player that you're letting run amok among the good folks in your organization because you're scared of what'll happen if they leave, you need your head examined. And so, I mean, this is a little strong. This is a little strong. I gotta pull back a little bit. But my God, this gets my goat. Because I'm so tired of seeing all the positive posts, but then I have to deal with reality. It's very annoying. Okay, I think I'm done. I don't know what else to say here other than, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a little flustered. You can tell my brain's racing right now. I can't even end the dang podcast because I'm so flustered. Like, I want to fix this. I want to say more. I want to help you people listening. There's all these things happening in my mind right now, and there's nothing I can do about it. Right? What am I? I'm a whiteboard. I can't bring the 10 commandments because I don't own the company. I have to bring the 10 suggestions. Maybe this is why these people refuse to go on retainer with me, because depending on how much you're paying, it's going to determine how much you're going to listen. I think the companies that pay me more, they're more vested in my answers and in my strategies. The people that do listen, wow, results all day long, all the time. Things work. All right. You know what people lack in this world? They lack people sense. They may have business sense. They may have money sense, but hardly anybody has people sense. And it's frustrating. Anyway, if you're running a company and you're listening to this, if you're a leader or a manager and you're listening to this, make sure you don't have competing commitments with all the good people in your organization that are making it work, because that's not good. It's not good. Now, I'm noticing I'm becoming redundant. I'm repeating myself, and I don't want to do that to you. So I'm going to keep this quick. So another podcast under our belt. What are we talking about right now? If you wanted to name this episode, what could I name it? I'd call it Competing Commitments. There's so much more I could say about competing commitments that I don't want to say because I don't want to talk anymore. But I'll leave it at that. And then maybe, depending upon your comments, folks, we'll fill you in on what you need to know when it comes to people around those ideas. So if you want more of this, I can definitely drum up a lot more information on competing commitments and make a bigger episode out of it if that's what you want. But other than that, that's all you're going to get. So thank you for joining. I really appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate, so far, 5 stars, folks. I love it. You guys are amazing. I'm starting to want to do some giveaways, and I just got this podcast started. Giving you one of my books or something like that. There's things I want to do, but I need engagement. I need you guys making comments. I need you guys, come on, you got to pull it out of me. Don't let me sit here all alone. Let's make a family out of this, because you're going to learn how to navigate the world when it comes to people, human behavior, motivation, emotions, axiology, all of it. So as the days roll by and I continue to talk into this Wonderful little microphone I got set up here. Together, we can change the world one person at a time. So thanks for tuning in, and we will connect next time on Behavioral Insights.